Are you into like the abstract art or more like portrait art?
I would say, from my personal experience, that portrait representational art is more to my liking. I do have some affinity for abstract art. There are some amazing pieces out there, but I do prefer things of existing images, scenes, figures, things that I could imagine seeing in a photo.
Today we have a special guest, Oliver Posada. Posada?
Posada.
Posada. Oliver is an artist. Actually, he's a very good artist. That's why we asked him to come on the show and, get to know him a little bit better. So, Oliver, just tell us a little bit about how you got into art.
Since day one, since I was a little kid, that was always the subject in school that I paid attention to. Art. That ability to express yourself by drawing, painting. It was always the course that I tried with the least amount of effort, but got always the greatest results. It just came second nature to me. It was always a stimulating and satisfying experience to always be in an art class.
So when did you get that moment that you said, or that someone, I mean, as an artist, you always are an artist, like you said, since day one.
Yes.
But someone must have said to you, hey, you know what? You're an artist. It must have happened at some point.
Yes. I must have heard that too many times since the beginning, with my own mother saying that to college, or high school and middle school peers saying that, and teachers saying that. So there was always that reinforcement that you have ability with this. You have the ability to express yourself well in different mediums and canvases and whatnot. So yeah, it was there.
And you have formal training in art.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I did basically art when it was available from grades 1 to 12, and then I did 4 years at OCAD University in Toronto, Ontario.
And how was that experience at OAC? OAC or OCAD?
OCAD,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
It was originally called OCAD when I first started, but then it transferred to OCAD University because they started, they labeled themselves as a university as opposed to a college.
Right.
It was a very interesting experience. It was because it was a different world at that point. Because up to high school, I found like I could get away with being a little more lackadaisical with my approach to art, because not everybody in my class or classes could produce that kind of work, or that I could at that time. But when I got to OCAD, I realized it was different, because now everybody knows how to draw. Everybody knows how to paint.
Competition.
Yes, everybody knows. Everybody is very open-minded, and that's where I started realizing, okay, then now I have to pay more attention to what I'm doing, put more effort into my work. So I found that approach being applied more to my work as I was in those years at OCAD. And the other big thing that was interesting was being challenged by teachers, because as most of us know, art is very subjective. Right. Some people like pieces, some people don't. And I got to see a lot of that. Like, some people really appreciated what I produced, and some people questioned it. And
everybody's got to question it.
Of course, no, you can't please everybody. That's the reality. And there, I was challenged by some of my teachers to look at things beyond what I'm producing. Like, what if I took this suggestion? What if I took that suggestion? What if I approached my work with a different perspective? And as those 4 years went by, I started seeing, it was a lot of experimentation to see what worked, what didn't, because that's the reality with life, is people are going to give you advice and pointers all the time, but not all of it's going to work.
But was it the education or the training at OCAD, was it like a regimental? Was it like really tough work? Because I mean, it's a very prestigious. Not everybody's getting into that school.
Yes, you have to go through an audition process to be accepted in the school, but it varies, because some teachers are very laid back and are leave it open to the students as long as they produce the work and show effort. But then there's other people that are very kind of stuck to their ways. Like they grew up learning how to paint and draw one way, and that's what they try to encourage or sometimes even implement on their students. So it was very interesting to see the different perspectives, and just like, I guess, any institution, some people you agreed with more than others when it came to the teaching process.
And are you in touch with any of your classmates?
Oh yes.
Oh, really?
I met many great people when I was at OCAD. Many people with different perspectives, different insights, and we've retained friendships over the years. And actually, my girlfriend is where I met her at OCAD.
Oh, she's an artist as well.
Oh yes, she's an artist. She's an artist as well, and so there's many memorable people that I've met during my time there.
And your classmates, are they working as artists? Are they working artists? Do they have like works of art throughout the city, and are they commissioned?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do have several friends that kept it up post OCAD, and they have to juggle things because, as we all know, a lot of these liberal arts are somewhat precarious when it comes to a career. You do have to be very on your toes. You have to find ways to reinvent yourself as time goes on, but I do have many friends that do show a lot of work, even though they're also doing other things to implement that passion.
So, as a young artist growing up, would you recommend them going to OCAD to further their passion in art? Or can they go on their own? And I don't need the education. I could go make it on my own. I think I'm a good enough artist.
Mm-hmm. I think you have to really do your research. I had a good overall positive experience at OCAD, and it did benefit me well. But just like anywhere, some people did not see it the same way. Some people felt that they could have used their time more effectively, and it's such a subjective environment, and I think it's very important for a person that's up and coming to do a lot of research, to know what they're getting themselves into, where the investment will lead them, and to ask themselves, will this path really benefit me? Mm-hmm. Do I have those skills that could use some refining and under the tutelage of somebody that is established? Or can I trust myself to go with what I know?
So the big question is, given that you're an artist, will this education, this training, hurt your art or enhance your art?
I think it can enhance your art, but it's based on a big thing's based on perspective. Because because everybody's going to take criticism, which is a big thing at that school, by the way. You're going to have your work criticized left and right. You're presenting your work all the time.
Got a thick skin.
yes. If you don't have a thick skin, don't go to OCAD. I'm telling you that right now. So I think that a perspective is a huge
because you're basically saying you could be a hotshot artist beforehand.
Yeah.
As soon as you get in, they burst the bubble.
Somebody's going to burst it. Yeah. Somebody's going to challenge you at some point. And so perspective is a huge thing, I would say. And how you take criticism could mean all the difference in what those 4 years can do to you. Because I've seen people walk out of that school bitter, really bitter.
And not finish the program.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure half.
Oh yeah. I remember one day you'd have 20 students in the class, and then a few halfway through a semester it'd be down to 10, 7.
Wow.
Yeah, because people
they just get fed up.
Yeah, people. Not everybody's meant to take criticism.
Like you said, you go into that college and right away, day one, they're going to be on you, criticizing you. By year 2, 3, 4, if you make it all the way up, there's going to be a lot of art being exhibited and people cutting it up or building you up. But you know what? I have to say, you showed me that one piece that you did, because Oliver is quite a unique artist in the sense of he meshes art with fighting. So he showed me, and I'm gonna show you guys in a minute. We're just gonna touch upon it on what Oliver's sort of video art, I guess.
Yes.
His video art is all about. So you can see how he meshed art with fighting or art with boxing, because Oliver is a trained boxer. So before I show it to you guys, I just want Oliver to touch upon it a little bit. So how did you get the inspiration? Because I saw it and I find it fascinating, this whole notion of from your feet to the gloves to the white canvas, basically, right?
Yes.
And how did you get the inspiration to do that?
So, long story short, art was always one thing I did, but also I liked playing sports. And I did a lot of contact sports growing up: football, rugby, wrestling, boxing. But boxing was the sport that really stuck to me, especially when I started when I was in my late teens, 17, 18. And that was a time when, like many people, I didn't have a sense of direction. I didn't know where I was going with my life. And boxing kind of motivated me to stay grounded, taught me discipline, taught me the importance of fitness, nutrition, being respectful to others. It really shaped me into who I am today, speaking in front of you. So, and I like the boxing because you could make so many connections to art. It was a form of expression, and it was almost by coincidence you were on a canvas.
It's an art form as well.
Yes,
boxing.
yes. It's been often labeled as, and I believe that myself. Yeah. And you're on a canvas, coincidentally. So
on your feet, walking on canvas.
That's what they call it, the canvas, right?
And hitting the canvas, the bag.
In the bag, yeah, all that. So for about 7 years, I was involved in boxing. Did all this stuff. Sparring, training, having a couple of fights and whatnot, and I guess there came a point when I was at OCAD, and I said to myself, how can I put the two together? Because I like those two things.
So you were training as a boxer during your school?
Yeah, I was doing that, doing it at the amateur level, so doing all the things that most amateur boxers go through, and that all led to asking myself, how can I mix the two in a way that would be interesting? And I did actually come across an artist, a Japanese artist, Ushio Shinohara, who I saw some of his work where he did boxing paintings, and it was an elderly man that would punch canvas walls with boxing gloves. And I saw this, and I said, that's an interesting concept. But I wanted to take it further. I wanted to apply it to actual like boxing objects, like bags, while moving around on the floor, and using paint to express movements and impact, and with not a wall but the actual instruments that you would see in a boxing gym. And so that was my ability of taking that a step further and applying more, in my opinion, more genuinity to it, given my history with that sport.
Well, I'm just going to cut to it. You guys are going to watch it, and then we'll come back to Oliver just to talk a little bit more about it. Right, so I mean, it's self-explanatory. I was just so blown away by the idea of taking these two mediums, and you're doing your education and you're doing boxing, and you're inspired by this Japanese artist, and then boom, it just clicked.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
and the colors. How did you come up with these different? How did you choose these particular colors?
I took a moment to think about it, and like you see a lot of like red, blues, and whatnot, and I think red is pretty self-explanatory. The aggression, the ferocity, the tenacity that goes into the mechanics and the sport of boxing, and then also blue, I would say, was kind of chosen because, as crazy as it may seem for those that don't really know about boxing, you being relaxed is very important. Right. The times you go up to spar, the times you go up to compete, the psychology is very important, and knowing how to keep yourself in check during arguably stressful moments is what pertains to using more cool colors in my piece.
I mean, as I look at it, you see the reds because blood and everything, blue, the bruising. Mm. I mean, I was just like so fascinated and walking around, and it's literally blank canvas, and then this happens.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. No, it was. It was.
Was it well received?
Yes. I presented that at my school. I showed it at a couple of shows, and people were taken aback by it. They were very curious. It sparked curiosity. I think that was a big word, because I don't think people were seeing a lot of that, especially with the audiences that I worked with at school. Their works were much different. Even their performance pieces were not like this subject matter, so it stood out right away.
I doubt any of your classmates were also boxers. You know?
I did run into a couple of guys in my school that did sports as well. They did Muay Thai, did rugby, and you saw some of that implemented in their work. It was but it was much different. It was not in the same appearance.
So what's next for Oliver?
I continue to produce work. I still love to paint. Like, drawing and painting are my initial loves. I have gone also through the digital field, so graphic design, posters, business cards for clients and whatnot. So, but I'm just keeping myself busy with small projects at the moment. Just always keeping those artistic and creative muscles flowing.
I really hope you do more and more. I mean, I really enjoy that piece, and I'm sure. I hope there's more art in you to come out of your body. It's going to be pretty amazing. Well, Oliver, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing this time. Thank you for sharing your art with our viewers.
Thank you.
And hope to see you again next time you have another piece, another installation. Please come, and so we could talk about it more, because I'm amazed by that art, how you meshed boxing and art together in that fashion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If I was a ghost and I could possess people, the thing that I would make people do is to show more respect and compassion to their fellow person, their neighbors, their family, their loved ones, even complete strangers, to show that people are capable of being good in spite of what's happening in the real world. The goal that I think humanity should take a look at is the concept of unity, the concept of understanding that we're all human beings. We're all in this. We all come into this world with nothing, and we leave this world with nothing. And knowing how to be aware of this, and knowing that everybody has feelings, emotions, opinions, and that we as a unit could do so much more than what we're doing today is very important. My problem, I would say right off the bat, is perfectionism. It's a curse when you're an artist, always trying to produce the perfect piece, the perfect performance. My experience with visual arts, with public speaking, with acting, you're always wanting that perfect moment. The movie character that comes to my mind in modern days would probably be Henry Cavill of the recent Superman, Justice League, DC movies. I think that he is there prominently for his aesthetics, which is obviously a big thing in Hollywood, and he doesn't inspire me the way Christopher Reeves or Brown and Ralph did in their roles as Superman. As a young person, I was involved with video games, and the video game that always got to me was a game called Super Smash Brothers. It was a fighting game where you played as famous characters from Nintendo, and my friends and I would always get together and just play that game to the end. It was to the point where we could close our eyes and play the game perfectly. Most comfortable bed that I've been in is the bed that I have now. as I've gotten older, I've been able to save up and afford different things. So I put a lot of time and effort into choosing a perfect memory foam mattress. It wasn't cheap, mind you, but I don't think I've ever slept as well as I have in the last 2-3 years. The craziest conversation I've overheard is a personal friend of mine that is very opinionated and does not hold back when he speaks. He clearly doesn't agree with a liberal mindset that is very common in Toronto. And hearing his opinions on things like LGBT, gender equality it takes a moment to take that all in. That's for sure. I would say the hardest I ever worked was probably training for an amateur boxing competition. The amount of work is unreal. We always see the completed product when we see different things in today's world, but we never see the process, and the process for that probably shaped me to approach things with the work ethic I have now. The dieting, the running on cold nights, the training, the sparring, the good days and the bad days, and that constant reassurance you have to give yourself that yes, I can do this, especially on those bad days. Though that period was probably the hardest I ever worked. I think there's just too many movies that make me laugh, but I would say one movie or series of movies that always makes me laugh are those old school 1950s to 1990s Japanese Godzilla movies. I think those movies are the best example of that concept of so bad, it's good. The guy running in a monster suit, crushing a miniature city. It's something that many people could probably do with the time and effort, but the way they pull it off is like, I actually find myself enjoying it. That changes every 1-2 years. I'm the kind of person that will listen to all kinds of music. I'm not very biased as long as it's a catchy tune and the lyrics aren't anything that I disagree with. I have no problem. But I guess recently I was a band from the 80s, 90s, Living Color. And that song, Cult of Personality, is the song I personally like right now.